What? Live at 5? Amazing.
Good for us.
I know, right on the nose. Oh, right on the very nose.
Yes. For those, of you who have noses. And are
That's
not
true. The
disembodied
noseless.
beings.
Yeah, that would be me. But we are the nose to the noseless.
Yes.
Friend
True.
to the friendless. We're hope for the hopeless. We're heroes for the heroless.
Do you know you're referencing a Rick Astley song that's not Never Gonna Give You Up?
No, I did not.
Oh,
Right.
I did not know that.
Also, Rick Astley has songs that are not Never Gonna Give You Up for the people at home.
I didn't know that
Right.
either.
Fun fact.
Well, we're no strangers to love. Hey, everybody. RC's here. Live at 5, baby. Sean Holland says hello. Cloud is here, but it's 2. Yes, I think it's a time zone, time and space anomaly.
It is a time-space thing.
Apook says, ouch, right on my nose. We got it. Your nose, that is. It's SC Terra Marine says, happy 4th of July, everyone. Time to light up the sky, y'all. Ken Pham says, on time today.
Yeah, right? we like to surprise people every once in a while.
We do. And Ken, we like to, we will take every victory, and I am personally awarding all of us a hero point. So,
well, occasionally Steve's competency rubs off on the rest of us.
Yeah, doesn't last long. Doesn't last long at all.
Ironically, I was the one who was late for setup, so.
See, we were going to cover for you. What we were on time today, which was good. Apook says, happy Mumamo super fan and happy 4th anniversary. It's 3rd. It's the 3rd anniversary,
It is.
not the 4th. 4 just feels so good. But
the beginning of our 4th anniversary.
Yes, that's true. We are moving into our 4th year, but it's 3 years of Mumamo.
Hey, Sean, I don't think anybody has done a group of villains based around fireworks. That would be a fun idea, right?
Yeah.
You could have, Cherry Bomb and
Black Cat.
Right. And,
who's that fella in Rogues Gallery? Explodo, the master of blowing things.
Oh, there
up?
is Explodo. Yeah.
Explodo.
He could be the guy who wants to join up with that team.
I love it.
Explodo, the great master of blowing things.
Yes, master of blowing things up.
Now look at this. Pope Brandon Brownson has been up for 29 hours.
Pope, go to bed.
Right?
No, well, don't go to bed yet, Pope.
Yes.
One more hour.
After this stuff.
But don't be driving a car while watching the program.
Also, Pope, I'm going to Michigan in a couple weeks. We should link up.
Nice. That'd be fun.
It will be fun.
Yeah, you should do a series of TikToks together.
There you go.
There's something afoot.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't find it, but it just stinks to high heaven. I'm kidding. No, what we're doing, I got to turn this future pop off. It is literally putting me into a coma. We are indeed celebrating. Look at you two. Howdy do. Of course, we've got our buddy, our Mutants and Master Daddy, Steve Kenson, and Alex Thomas, the line lead, the head mastermind, if you will, and won't you please?
That feels like too much power.
I trust you. I do.
I think Omega and Foreshadow are going to come get me.
Let's see. Troy said, no, I did not say that. That is not a thing. Pope says, oh, S word. We don't do a lot of cursing on here, do we?
Mm-hmm.
We kind of leave it to other people.
Not out loud.
Not out loud, yeah. Isaac says, oh no, it's a Claude.
Yeah, Pope, I will be 40 minutes south of Detroit.
Nice.
Cool.
I mean, nice.
Right?
I don't know. The reviews are mixed. Yeah, but
here's on Lake Erie. I think it's Lake Erie.
Here's what's not up. Here's what's not mixed. There are before you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 questions for you two gentlemen. And
Wow,
if you
lot of questions.
get them right,
what do we win?
well, the entire Mutants and Masterminds community wins 30% off of anything they buy from the M&M HQ on our store.
Sweet. Wow, we better not mess this up then.
You better not.
You're gonna put this on us, Troy?
I know, right? Don't ruin it for everyone, Alex. Don't
I
ruin
made
it for
this joke
everyone.
before stream, but this is the colonial episode, so we have to have a witch hunt, I guess.
Yeah.
That's right. That's exactly right. Okay, you ready?
All right.
30% off is, that's something.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good deal.
Okay, here we go. What's big, green, and currently giving you the silent treatment? Do dee dee do 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 you dee do do dee
It's big and green and currently giving us the silent treatment.
do do do. It won't be
Steve, do
100%.
you know?
See, I've got nothing except the green Ronin itself, and
Oh, that's a good one, but
right?
yeah,
But
yeah.
no.
I guess the answer to this could be a nickname for the Green Ronin. I assume today will be about how to do a colonialism, says Cloud. Yes.
Right.
Question again. What's big, green, and currently giving you the silent treatment?
Wow.
Answer, the Incredible Sulk. Okay, next question.
Oh, okay.
You're like, oh, I see what we're doing now.
I see how this goes now.
This isn't trivia. This is riddles.
It's kind of a trivia riddle. Like, for instance, how much does it cost to kill Tony Stark's family?
An arm and a leg?
No.
Because Bucky lost an arm?
This is, yeah. Nope, that is not the answer.
See, I don't think I'm mean enough to know the answer to this.
Claude, get your pockets out of here.
How much does it cost to kill Tony Stark's parents?
Family, not parents necessarily.
Family. Oh, the whole family. Okay.
Sure, yeah.
Sure, it's a Stark amount.
Nice. Okay,
Right.
Some bonus points for that for sure. Answer: $1.
$1. Yep.
One Bucky.
See, Warden Maximus gets it.
Yep. Exactly. All right, next question. What is Thor's favorite food? The look on Alex's face is great. Thor's. You can get help from the chat if I'll allow it. Since we're doing so.
Clearly need it.
What is Thor's favorite food? A hammer sandwich?
A hammer sandwich, you say?
Mm.
A hammer sandwich. Well, no.
Bifrosted flakes.
Oh, that's so good. All right. Bonus points. No, it's tortillas.
Tortillas.
I think Alex's answer is better.
Honestly, it is much, much better. Okay, so next question. What would Superman be called if he worked in a convenience store?
Superman be called if he worked in a convenience store? The last Sunoco of Krypton.
Not a come and go, huh? Okay. Nope, that is not correct. It is Clark Kent. The answer is Clark Kent.
He wasn't even supposed to be there today.
Right. Next question. What do you call an injured Batman?
Bruised Wayne.
Yes. Nice.
Good job, Steve.
All right, the next one, the last one. What is Loki's least favorite day of the week?
Thursday.
Thursday it is.
Right.
Look at that. You've done it. You've saved the sale. Everyone gets 30% off. It's sort of a an Independence Day slash birthday slash good excuse to just kind of put you through the ringer on those ridiculous puns that I enjoyed quite a great deal. But all you have to do is you head on over to the HQ, and I think I actually even did a thing. I did a thing.
Bruce sprained.
Right.
Oh, that's good. That's really good. Let's see here. Let me add this. Come on, you can do it. You can do it, Restream. I believe
I kind of want to add
in
an
you.
extra level to the pun and make it Bruce Baned.
I like it. I like it a lot. All you got to do is head over to that. You're going to see a QR code there, and it says 3 years. Because for some reason, Restream doesn't let us use more than 3 characters. And you put in the code "Happy Birthday Moo Mamo!" After filling your cart with all of the Mutants and Masterminds supplements, and maybe you want to get a Mutants and Masterminds, a pair of the Daedalus fundament.
They're very comfortable.
Yes.
Now, is it fundaments or is it fundament?
I think it depends on how excited you are.
I think it's plural, but
okay. Is it plural because of legs?
Sure. Why not?
Okay. Sure. Okay. Yeah. You will get 30% off of your order. Anything that you order from the M&M HQ. Do it now. Or share the sale with a friend.
And how long is this going to be good for, Troy?
We're gonna run it until probably Wednesday or Thursday. We might extend it for the whole week. Why not?
Go all the way to Friday. Do it for the people.
Do it. Let's do it.
So if you're catching this a little bit later than live, he may still have a shot.
That's right. Yeah, but don't dally or dilly, because you want to get this dilly of a deal. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm losing my mind. I do want to say honestly, thank you, Friday, more like, right? Yes, thank you, RC.
Yes.
Hey, chat. You folks, the chat is filled with some of the most remarkable, often troublesome, but really fun and engaging people. And looks like people are scanning the QR code. Yeah, you scan that with your phone, and magic takes you there, right to the store. And
you take the Bifrost, actually.
That's right.
Close your eyes and close your mouth.
What happens if you don't?
You taste the rainbow.
Hey, Alex is in a mood now. We've activated the Punderdome.
Yes.
But this is Isaac says, wait, is this the Moo Mamo anniversary? The first one I actually watched live? Yeah, Isaac, I'm glad you're here to see it. And actually, Isaac, what this is a party for you. We knew you were coming, and we want to celebrate your first live viewing with a sale, 30% off, anything you want. Buy yourself something nice.
Troy, people are wondering if the capitalization matters on the code.
No.
And if it works on the novels for M&M
it will do that. It will do its magic on anything in the HQ. Now, if you use it and something gets weird, do let me know. So Mr. Twistex says, is it okay to ask a rules question here? Absolutely. 100%. Thank you for getting us back on track.
You can give us real questions
and jokes here.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, absolutely. But so ask away, and we shall endeavor. Make it a difficult one, won't you? So with that being said, today we are talking about the American War of Independence on Earth Prime. And I'm super curious as to how different Earth Prime is in this regard than Earth that we live on right here. Like when it comes to the 4th of July, I mean, is it the 4th? Is there, that kind of stuff? Oh, got the question. Mr. Twistek says, extra effort costs a free action. However, resistance implies that you can use extra effort to get an extra resistance check against compelled and controlled, under which you have no free actions.
Mm-hmm. That should still be allowed. Extra effort itself shouldn't require an action, but many of the things that you're going to use it for may require actions.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know.
You should still be able to use it for resistance.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and importantly, controlled is a third degree effect, so you have to wait a round. You have to wait 10 rounds at least to make a resistance check against it.
Yep.
But spending that hero point and using extra effort, you can make that resistance check early.
Nice. Okay. Mr. Twistdeck says, "Oh, I thought it required a free action. Thanks for the clarification, and thank you for the question. That is phenomenal. Let's see. Claude says, got to recruit people for Mutants and Masterminds home games at an RPG fair this weekend. Had a little table where people approached, and I pitched M&M at them. Nice.
Hopefully the soft covers, not the hard covers.
Right, because those hurt.
Well, I mean, have you seen Claude's arms? They're kind of noodly.
That's not very nice.
Not a good throw. Not a good. It's a superpower. That's why he calls himself Mr. Noodles.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Claude, is that your superhero name? And Detroit just out you and your super identity too? On top of all your noodle arms?
On Mutants and Masterminds Monday, no less. What in the world? They left bruised and sad.
As they should.
Are your arms or the people? Yeah. Okay, well, so how about this? Let's talk about this American War of Independence on Earth Prime while everybody's sort of, perusing the M&M HQ for deals and something that they might want to pick up for themselves or a loved one, and get them with the corners. Thanks, Warden. Yeah.
So, as little of surprise as it might be, Freedom City had a big thing to do with the freedom of the United States. It was sort of it was a big location for the American War of Independence. A lot of interesting things happened there that didn't happen in our timeline or happened slightly different, like the Kingston Tea Party instead of the Boston Tea Party.
Okay.
But in traditional superhero fashion, the war happens around the same time, despite the existence of superpowered beings.
Yep. Well, that's the classic comic book trope, is that history is basically the same as we recall it for all intents and purposes, but yet there were weird superpowered things going on all the time throughout it. And the Revolutionary War in Earth Prime is no different in that regard. There are different costumed characters and weird things happening, and the presence of fictional places like Freedom City and the like. And yet the whole thing still basically happens the way the history books record it.
Okay.
Yeah. I like that, though, because it allows you to set a story in a familiar sort of location and put your twist on things.
Yeah.
And Freedom City is a really interesting place to set a Revolutionary era game because it was occupied by the English for such a long time during the war. So you get some of that occupied Boston feeling of redcoats around, having to smuggle information out to the resistance, being a party to lots of fun, daring raids on a superior opponent, lots of cool stuff that make great adventure fodder.
Yeah.
Here's a good question, just to sort of touch on this. And then Temp asks, what about the numerous indigenous tribe, the indigenous people of the area, and did they have superheroes to,
Right. We haven't established much about that. And in fact, we have only sketched out some elements of the Revolutionary era as far as that goes. We do know that the Manaka route that Minuteman gains its powers from is initially something that the Hapanak Indians in that region originally cultivated or discovered. So there's possibility that they also have some superheroes with that similar sort of enhancement. We know that the ability to be enhanced by Manaka root is a rare sort of genetic quirk that some people have. So it's possible there could be other characters like that. And certainly there could be Native Americans with mystical or spiritual powers as well.
Yeah, and Minuteman's involvement with the Hapanook tribe led to them siding alongside the colonists instead of the British, as was typical for native tribes during the real Revolutionary War.
Indeed.
I gotcha. Hang on real quick. Dominic says ran a time travel game where a 70s British time traveler who was sort of a mad mod-esque traveled to the Kingston Tea Party to sabotage it. That's great.
That's terrific.
I can't believe I'm overlooking this. I just absolutely spaced out. But I do want to just say kudos to Dominic for running a great actual play that we were in.
Absolutely.
That was a lot of fun.
It was a ton of fun.
Really good time. Good work, Dominic. You did a phenomenal job. I loved our characters. It was really sort of a fun, a bunch of friends out on the, saving lives. And
Dominic points out that one of the fun aspects of superhero settings is that you can do an adventure that is 70s British villain time travels to the Revolutionary War area to disrupt a historical event, and that's just it's another day at the office for superheroes.
Right. Well, guess I got to go save America.
Right, and all of our history.
Yes, yeah. So we're really getting into the history here, and that's one of the things I do love about a good superhero podcast is where we get into the minutia of history. Delight.
Well, there's a lot of cool stuff that happened in Freedom City specifically.
Let's talk about it.
The First Lady Liberty came to prominence during the Revolutionary War.
Indeed.
Which is a character who has had a lasting impact on our whole setting leading up to the modern day.
Yeah. Secret origin of Lady Liberty dates all the way back to the Revolutionary War.
Well, that's cool.
It's interesting because Lady Liberty has a background that sort of mirrors one of our villains in Rogues Gallery, Catherine the Red.
Mm-hmm.
They both lose their husband because of the war, and they both decide to do something about it.
Yeah.
A quick question for you. Did we mention where folks would find some of this lore and some of this detail in our library of M&M books?
We should probably do that.
The most of it has been appeared in the second edition book Worlds of Freedom.
Mm.
In the chapter Wars of Freedom.
Yep. And some of it shows up in the timeline in Freedom City, 3rd edition as well.
Nice. I am looking for, it was Worlds of Freedom. I had it, and then...
second edition source book.
Second, yeah. I will get a link out to everybody. Ornon says, my character was the only one who got Britished by the timeline rewrite. And kept talking with the accent the entire game.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I love it. Headless Horseman would be a good Revolutionary War villain.
Indeed.
Sure, why not? That's really smart. I like that.
Sure.
Yep, that's who Catherine the Red is. After she gets murdered during the war, she becomes a Doulahan spirit working for the Unseelie Court of the Fae.
Yes.
So a headless rider hunting down people who have wronged her, or people who have wronged other people who have asked for help.
Have we ever established whether or not Catherine the Red has come up against the modern-day Lady Liberty?
We have not, but we should make that happen.
That would be a fun story, actually.
This is a good question. Claude says, how dangerous would Doc Holliday's Independence Day form be?
Depends on what it is, really. If he turns into a living mass of fireworks, that could be a real mess. He could have, energy form and all kinds of explosive attacks and blinding dazzles and that kind of a thing. And deafening dazzles for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
So all sorts of fun potential there. But he could also turn into a giant float balloon or something, for all we know.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine the Red for the next Mad Libs and Masterminds.
Well, it's not too late for me to swap that out in the list.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe.
Nah, we could do it.
Save it for the next one.
Yeah, I like it. Dominic says, my Revolutionary War character fought a Hydra-esque group called the Horsemen.
Cultist Prussian mercenaries. That's fun.
That's cool.
They,
I think Chris Pramis would like that a lot.
right?
Yeah,
They
exactly.
sound like fun antecedents to the Thule Society on Earth Prime, Nazi occultists.
SC Terran Marine does bring up an interesting question about, given how strong the occult was in Europe, it makes sense that the British would use some magic more than the colonial Americans.
Yeah, although of the colonial Americans, many of them have British ancestry and partake of that culture. To say nothing of the fact that the biggest occult scares, if nothing else, you take things like the Salem witch trials into play. Happened in the
Oh,
colonies.
sure.
Yeah.
So it's possible that there could be there's good opportunities to do weird magical stuff on either side of things, depending on how you want to play it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be done with theme for that, where you have the
Mm-hmm.
British people forcing magic to happen or trying to contain magic and make it their weapon, and the
Mm-hmm.
colonists trying to freely express magic and have. I don't know. There's something there that you can work with from a
Interesting
world building
possibilities.
perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple of mentions of the Brigadier.
Mm-hmm.
That's Dominic's character from.
I see. Yeah. I wasn't sure if that was a known character or if that's Brigadier fell into a fountain of youth fighting the leader of the Horsemen, which gave him a superhuman vitality, much like us, gentlemen. Ken Fan, let's see, Aura is talking about. Okay, this is great. Yeah, so we've kind of touched a little bit on the kind of the era and sort of what it could potentially feel like as a space to stage some shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
What are some other things we ought to know about that time frame specific to Earth Prime?
Well, I think that one of the key things is that overall, as a setting, it's a relatively low power level setting. Most of the costumed heroes of the time are people who either don't have superpowers or have very low level, limited superpowers for the most part. There aren't a lot of PL 8 and above characters with throwing energy blasts and flying and the like during that period. There are a few mystical characters like Lantern Jack, who are pretty powerful, but also pretty limited in terms of their range and abilities. Lantern Jack is still basically bound to Lantern Hill and doesn't leave that area of Freedom City. So his ability to influence things is still limited so far as that goes. Yeah, Claude, like, I can run as fast as a modern car is like a huge superpower in this time. I can outrun a horse.
Yeah.
Is a big deal.
Yeah, most
so
of
far
the
as that
heroes,
goes.
I think Minuteman is PL6, and he's the highest in the stat
Yeah.
box we have here.
Yeah. Most of them are kind of tend to be around PL6. I would call it a PL6 campaign for the most part, so far as that goes.
Nice.
There's so many cool opportunities for hero groups. Like you can have Minutemen, you can have writers who worked with Paul Revere and those guys, and spies for the American Revolution, and there's a lot of cool stuff.
The butter churner.
Right. And one of the reasons that Freedom City is specifically British occupied for such a long period during the Revolutionary War is to set up a kind of espionage type of campaign where the heroes are fighting against an occupying force. They're generally relying on stealth, and you have a bit of an element that's like Zorro in Spanish California, as far as that goes, where they might have secret identities as ordinary citizens of freedom, who are maybe even have some kind of relations with the British occupying forces or the like, but they are using their costumed identities to fight the revolution behind the scenes, essentially.
Interesting. Claude says, churner, I hardly know her. And to that I say, but her power is so delicious.
Oh, Troy, bitter, better, bitter Betty bought a bit of batter butter,
Right.
but it made her better.
I'm gonna work on that. I like the sound of it. Let's see. Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap buildings in a single bound.
That's a few years after this.
Yeah. Indeed.
Sure. Yeah.
Indeed.
So okay. So well, it looks like we want some more conversation about there's we kind of talked a little bit about sort of the Native American indigenous people's role in the Earth Prime War of Independence. Anything else anything more we need to?
Well, like Alex pointed out, we do set seeds up in the setting so that because of the influence of Minuteman and the relations with the local native tribes, that it could go either way. You can have native tribes or factions who are allied with the British, or others who are allied with the Continental Army and the Revolution. As far as that goes, and it can go kind of whichever way the game master wants.
It could even be a point of contention among the tribe where they're trying to decide who they want to go with.
Yeah.
Or some go with half and some go with the other half.
Yep.
I like it. Yeah.
We leave it sort of open-ended for you as a game master to use a lot of this setting as you desire.
Yep. Yeah.
Interesting. Yep. Go ahead,
Dominic. Sorry. I do believe we established that LeBlanc is a witch hunter or something like that during this era. So it's possible that that sort of lycanthropic occult lineage is in play. It could make a great British allied villain.
Yeah. Hexenhammer was also a cool idea.
Yeah, Hexenhammer was also around.
Time period.
Yeah.
Who is Hexenhammer?
Hexenhammer is a monster hunting, witch hunting racist.
Yep.
He's kind of the worst.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
He's a puritanical spirit of vengeance.
Oh, I kind of remember we talked a bit about this. I think for a couple of memos ago, even.
Yep. He's got a magic hammer that hunts witches.
So I know that we have people, in within the Green Ronin team that are very excited about Lantern Jack. Like, talk about who that. I'm not personally familiar, sure. Either historically or just canonically.
He's the coolest.
Lantern Jack is a character from Freedom City, who originally was basically a colonial soldier who ends up betraying the revolution to the British in Freedom City. And before he can benefit from the ill-gotten gains of his betrayal, is killed in a fight that breaks out in the Lantern Hill neighborhood. Sort of very much like the Boston Massacre in a lot of ways, and his spirit is bound to that area of Freedom City until he has atoned for his sins, essentially, and he becomes this ghostly agent of inflicting harsh justice, and so in the modern era is very like characters like the Spectre and Deadman and other sorts of sort of ghostly supernatural superheroes who have sort of a horror edge to them in some regards, but he's basically been haunting Lantern Hill since his death, even actually before the start of the war, essentially. So he's a character who could be around at any point in Freedom City's history.
Yeah, he could be a very useful patron for a group of heroes trying to operate in Freedom City at the beginning of the war, or orchestrating the espionage that's going on.
He would also be a great catalyst for just finding characters who might be sort of reluctant heroes, and sort of pushing them to basically not follow his example and actually do the right thing, while in sort of a sort of Christmas Carol kind of scenario of don't suffer my fate, be the hero that you can be now.
Oh, this is interesting. So Lantern Jack
Alternatively, you could, because he's new to his ghostly form at this time period, you could make him wrathful and like trying to thinking that if he finishes his business, he can move on or something like that.
Sure,
because he's so fresh to being a ghost.
That's true.
Interesting. So it's Lantern Jack that has a hammer, right?
No, that's Hex
and Hammer.
Oh, got you.
Lantern Jack has a lantern.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I was a little confused there for just a moment, but let's see. As our friend S.C. Taryn Marine is a history buff, and French and the Spanish were involved in the Revolution, so it makes
Germans
sense.
and the Prussians as well.
Right.
Yeah, being tied into history really helps when you're running a campaign set in this time period because it means that you're passionate about what you're talking about. And you have the opportunity to sort of come up with interesting what ifs or alternate options. Just make sure that everybody who's in the group is equally invested in that sort of historical realism, if that's what you're going for.
Super important and very smart. Yeah.
Right.
It's about fun and all of that.
That's always a fraught topic when you want to set a game in a past time period.
Yeah.
Because in real life, some time periods were not awesome to live in.
Indeed.
For everybody.
That's an important conversation to have with your game group in session 0 is just how much of the unpleasantness of history do you want to deal with, and in what way?
Yeah, or if you just want to do Hamilton the musical, the RPG,
right?
You could do that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's
Lafayette the Speedster rapper is. I'm here for that. That's my next.
I'm here for that,
right?
Yeah, aim for the fun.
Yeah, indeed, and whatever that may be for you.
That's right. And make sure that it's a conversation. Very well said, and an important point to make. A quick question though: of French heroes.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Well, I mean, the French were at the very least supportive of the American Revolution because it was making trouble for the British, and at the very least, initially, were happy to provide material resources to keep that going. So you definitely could get some French characters involved in the process.
Yeah. Off the top of my head, a Rochambeau with rock fists springs up,
right,
as a potential French hero to interact with the heroes.
The hero would be named Rochambeau?
Yeah,
I like
one of the French people who helped George Washington. And
gotcha. Let's see. RC says Adventure Hook idea, July 5th, 1826. John Adams wasn't kidding when his last words were "Jefferson lives." Revolutionary War era heroes have to fight a cursed resurrected Lich King Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Jefferson's ghost.
Things are not so chill at Monticello.
Right.
I like that. Let's see. Temp says, I know this is a little off topic, but we'll be getting new information regarding Swords of the Shadow Planet. Oh, that's coming.
Yeah, I was going to say probably not on Mumamo.
Yeah,
but,
certainly not.
I mean, most certainly there will be, if I know Malcolm at all, there will definitely be more Ronin roundtables providing previews of Swords of the Shadow Planet as things progress.
Definitely.
And I'm eager for people to find out more about it because it's a fun setting.
Absolutely. And it's not age, right?
No, it is not.
So, so we got to find a little home for it.
Yeah. So it does not have its own show yet.
Shadow Planet Sunday.
If I know Troy, he's already thinking of possibilities. So.
Well, at least he said Sunday, not Saturday.
Right.
Let's see. The Swamp Fox Francis Marion is a good example of inspiration for a Revolutionary War American vigilante.
Sure.
I'll have to learn more about the Swamp Fox because that sounds interesting to me.
Is that like a creature that haunts the swamps?
It's a fella.
No, it's a.
I see. A fella, you say?
A military officer, planter, and politician who served during the French and Indian War and the Revolutionary War.
Yeah,
nice
example of that type of character. You just basically give him a mask and a costume, and he's basically a vigilante.
Mm-hmm.
I dig it. Well, here's a question for you.
We're gonna have to make him an Arctic fox instead of a swamp fox because we can't put him in red.
Yes.
Right.
Warden Maximus says the humid counterpoint to Arctic fox.
They're natural nemesis.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. A question for you. Thinking about sort of the where these things take place, where the encounters and stuff. What are some resources you think, or that you would look to find sort of maps of the era or time, or where would you go for that?
Well, I'd start, honestly, with history. As far as that goes, obviously, you're not going to find real historical maps of Freedom City, but you can definitely find colonial era, maps of real places like Boston and New York and other coastal cities, where you could lift elements of them, for adventures set either in those actual places or in places like Freedom City.
Yeah, you might be able to find battle maps for Napoleonic War miniatures.
Mm-hmm.
Those might work too. As a stealing something for your M&M RPG.
Right.
I like this. There's Ken has a question about a fireworks-based hero like Jubilee, but also there's Hanover Fist mentioned an ocean water-based heroes.
Sure.
A ship is a great sort of.
Sure, there's a lot of naval activity at that time, So there's definitely a lot of possibilities there.
Yeah, Commodore Perry is basically a superhero himself.
Fun, yeah, I like that. RC is very excited about the Boston mention. Let's see. Reading this was.
Well, RC, that large parts of Freedom City are based on Boston, so.
Checking some of this, boy, we are really getting it. People, this is an era that has really kind of got people's. It's kindling some creativity. We are well into the weeds,
it's
in a good,
iconic.
Yeah.
Someone did ask who the Master Mage would be in the Revolutionary era.
I'm trying to remember if Book of Magic established who the Master Mage was during that era. I'm not sure. I'd honestly have to look. I'm not sure if we have.
Also, sorry for my historical faux pas. Commodore Perry is from the War of 1812, not the Revolutionary.
Yeah.
But same thing.
John Paul Jones for America and the Revolutionary War.
That was the guy who went to England and was a pirate.
The famous for I have not yet begun to fight.
Matey, Ben Franklin.
Well, Ben Franklin is a great mad scientist.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
For this period, if you want to do somebody with superpowers, just have someone who was helping Ben Franklin with some of his experiments and they get struck by lightning.
Oh yeah, that's great.
I love that.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And I guess you really could play around with just sort of the kinds of villains that you would find, at sea. So a lot of piratey stuff would be fun, and
a
lot of go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, for whatever it's worth, on the Master Mage question, my personal preference, were I setting up a Revolutionary War campaign, would be to keep the Master Mage out of it. And whoever they are, try and make them neither British nor American, and basically have their attitude be, that this is not my purview. I'm here to maintain the pact and to protect the world from supernatural menaces from beyond. If Britain's colonies want to rebel, that's their business, and I don't have anything to do with it.
Yeah, that's not a magic problem,
right? It's not a magic problem. So you might have the characters approach the Master Mage for something that is a magic problem, in some way, to get them involved in something, or have some occasion when they encounter that character. But I would, because the Master Mage is, even in this era, is a really powerful character. I would be inclined to just have them stay out of it.
I like that. A really interesting idea that kind of sparked a bit of sort of ways that you can take this is questions about the Atlantean folks and where they might have stayed. And, that's really very interesting. I like that.
And you could definitely play around with the notion that there's a rogue Atlantean, who's active on either side, or there's one on each side, as far as that goes.
Hey, was Victor? No, was Nikola Tesla around?
No, much later.
Much later. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Tesla's the 19th century.
Sorry, Nikola. Oops, misread. Broken Crow was after this. Let's see.
Yeah, Broken Crow is also 19th century.
Yeah. We're in the middle of the gap between Merlin the Magician and Broken Crow in this time period.
Yeah, I was pretty sure we hadn't gotten into that, but...
Yeah, so we have like 1,600 years.
pretty much leaves it open as far as that goes. So, yeah, SC Termarine, were I setting up the campaign, my attitude would be that Atlantis has got a strict stay away from the surface world policy at this point. And that basically anybody who gets involved in surface world affairs is just cut off. They're exiled. And why exactly they're on the surface and why they're getting involved is an interesting plot to start considering so far as that goes. But it's another one of those areas where I tend to stay away from the notion of like Atlantis being involved, but maybe some Atlanteans.
Yeah, a group of Atlanteans who are maybe perturbed with the way Britain has been ruling the seas on the top could be interesting.
Sure. Well, and especially if they were agitating for something and, the king of Atlantis was like, yep, that's it. You're exiled, and they decide they've got nothing to lose at this point. So
they go for it. They want to be the kings of the surface instead of the kings of the ocean.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, Ken mentions that, poachers, slavers, pirates, and, that's kind of...
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's great GM advice in general if you're going to have powerful factions involved to make sure those factions could go either way.
Mm-hmm.
So,
generally speaking, yeah.
Based on player input or player interest.
Right. And yeah, their involvement depends very heavily on where the players are. If a player is playing an Atlantean character, that's a whole different deal than the Atlanteans are just an NPC faction as far as that goes. Likewise, if a player is playing a character who is a magician of some kind, then their relation to the master mage and what it is they should or shouldn't be doing becomes much more significant as far as the campaign is concerned.
I like this.
Pay attention to your players, because your players will tell you what they're interested in seeing.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Indeed. Yeah. And it doesn't all have to be guesswork and hope that you are entertaining. No. Just ask the question.
Just ask. Yeah, talk to them. Exactly.
I like that a lot. A quick question. So if you were creating a, let's say, sort of a gravy-based sort of being in this, because, I'd imagine that the mysteries of today, stretch as far back. What sorts of creatures would you, not necessarily malevolent, by the way, would you, how would you incorporate that into the
well, they would be magic? They would be the targets of this sinister British mastermind, the Yorkshire Pudding.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Who intends to soak up all of their power.
Yeah, because
the gravy must flow.
Right. Warden Maximus says, the chowder. Oh, that was good, Warden. What a world we live in today.
Ken did ask a relevant question.
Hey.
What?
Are there any skills we should keep in mind for expertises and such?
Ooh, smart. Yeah.
Yes, excellent notion.
So expertise tactics is a lot of fun for this,
yep.
Because there is a war going on, and if your character wants to engage in warfare, that's always a good skill to have. Expertise espionage strikes me as useful.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Expertise current events, even though it would be expertise history in the modern day.
Yep. Characters may be able to use expertise in various trades in different ways, things like blacksmithing or gunsmithing, for that matter, for characters who know how to make gunpowder, make muskets, expertise in various business matters may be useful for characters who are either using that as a cover part of their secret identity, or who are tracing, various mercantile activities or the like, as part of their, investigations.
Yeah, my notion would be to get rid of the technology skill and boil it down to
I generally
expertise
would.
for different professions, like smithing or gunsmithing.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that.
And then maybe reflavor vehicles for ride.
Yeah, this is definitely an era where a separate riding skill would be appropriate.
Oh, that's an interesting point too. To be able to look at sort of what the state of technology is across the board, from weaponry and war to the print press, or all of like that. You could really create some very fun mysteries and some ways that players can kind of chase down what's going on. And I do have a question. In the colonial time, this is actually a real one. In that era, was reading common at that point, or was it still sort of a fresh, new kind of experience?
It was fairly common. I mean, literacy was common enough that, using the printing press to print leaflets and seditious material,
Sure,
was effective and a significant concern so far as that went.
Yeah. I love that. Earth Prime Revolutionary War stream next. All firearms would have an activation action to load them.
That would be one way to simulate the flintlock or the musket style of fire.
Yeah.
Or if you don't want to do it, that just have your character say they have multiple.
Right.
Hanover beat me. Hanover beat me to it, but how much would you dabble in time travel for this particular, like
you don't almost, well, I shouldn't say that. I would say you almost have to do a time travel episode somewhere in there. Except of course it would be reverse time travel.
Yes.
Because they would be encountering people from the future. And it would be the, heroes from the future have come back to stop the villains who are trying to change history, and we need you to help us, as far as that goes, without us telling you, anything that's going to change history.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. An NPC like that would be so annoying, and I love that idea.
Right.
The NPC's like, I need you to do this. I need you to not ask me why.
Right, but I can't tell you why.
That's right. Don't open the box. Just deliver it.
Ken brings up an interesting point about
Sure.
if they ran this game, the players would somehow make it so the British would win. I think the default assumption generally is that the heroes are the colonists and the villains are the British, but there's no reason that you have to do that. You can you can have them enter in as neutral parties and have the story dictate sort of what side they decide they want to go with.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. And of
I
course,
like it.
Although it's set in a historical time period, the future of your campaign is up to you, and maybe the characters do create an alternate timeline and things happen differently.
I keep thinking of a timeline wherein you have to engage with this time window of time because somebody and their kite in the key got electrocuted and sent forward into the future, and here you have Benjamin Franklin got to kind of contend with that and do it the kind of backwards. Fun.
Well, if they got electrocuted and sent to the future, they wouldn't be very interesting to talk about.
They'd
be a very mysterious smoking corpse.
Exactly. No, they get sent ahead only partially cuted.
Right.
Let's see. RC says another workaround unless
the cuted is the death part.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Partially electrode.
Okay, so this is why all my experiments are failing at a rapid pace. Nobody's in the future, and it's just a smoking rubble around this place. RC says another workaround: unless they are at the Battle of Yorktown, the British PCs can win every adventure.
Every battle
they do.
except the last one. Yeah,
that's great.
Yep.
This is good. I like that. Okay, so this is fun. I'm starting. I will say that this is not my most favorite era. Of time.
It's not everyone's cup of tea, so to speak.
Yeah, it just feels like where's the a lot of like stinky people kind of making things out of gross stuff.
It is Boston Harbor's cup of tea.
I like it. I like it. But I could see how this could be fun, and I also, for some reason, I think because of maybe the Headless Horseman or something, but I think of it'd be a fun kind of Halloween sort of spooky time.
Sure.
Yeah,
It's also a great sort of change of pace flashback story.
Oh,
It
sure.
can be fun to set up a modern adventure that ties back to the Revolutionary era, and to introduce it by basically having a flashback story where the players temporarily take the roles of characters from that period. They play out, whatever leads to the treasure getting buried, or the other thing that's going to set up the adventure in the present, and then you follow it up with the regular resumption of your regular campaign and saying, okay, so now your heroes discover this thing, and you
Oh,
have a
yeah.
backstory to it.
That's a really fun way of doing backstory that's not just talking to your players for 10 minutes.
Right, exactly.
Oh, creating it. That's so fun. I really like that. Were there attempts by aliens to invade Earth during this time? Asks SC Terran.
Not in Freedom City's timeline that we've ever established. We pretty much say that aliens don't really notice Earth, apart from the preservers, until humans invent radio, at the very least. And in many cases, pretty much until we start sending satellites and rockets up. Beyond that, Earth is just a primitive backwater that nobody pays attention to.
When the preservers were here because of our deft skill at jams, jellies, and preserves.
Indeed.
Of the time, yeah. So don't forget that.
Indeed. We're really easy to mutate.
Yeah, that's right.
And we're super easy to mutate.
That as well.
And to make jelly out of, it turns out.
Right.
Mastermind.
Delicious.
That's what the preserver stones are. It's just 6 dudes that have been jellied.
I do like this. Simon mentions the fact that just information was just not as readily available then as it is to us now, and so that's a fun way to kind of
Yeah, Simon, you're absolutely right. I mean, when news travels at the speed of somebody on a horse, it is pretty easy for somebody to just change their name and move to a different city, and nobody knows who you are.
RC. Wow, spoiler alert for Event Horizon. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Alex has already ruined it.
Yeah, you signed up for it. You're fine.
Yeah, you're in a real jam now. Hey, so a quick question about I tend to, just because of the nature of ideas, and there's so many, it feels like at times that it's hard to innovate in a storytelling space when you're kind of, and that's okay too. I mean, sometimes, you want to just experience the experience and have fun with it, and from what you know. Have you thought about, this era? We've already thought of some, like traveling forward in time, alive, not electrocuted. But other kind of innovations or things that kind of turn tropes on their, on their head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, honestly, I think the biggest subversion of expectations would be to set the whole campaign here, because generally, when you do something set in this time period, it is a flashback, it is a time travel
or a
adventure.
time travel story, or that kind of thing.
And usually people won't set a whole series in this particular setting.
Right.
You get a lot of World War II games, a lot of 70s games, and modern day games, but going further back, you don't get as much.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So just set it entirely in that time, and
I mean, the other major trope to subvert as far as this sort of setting goes is that usually powers are kept subtle, and you're not supposed to change history significantly, but you could also do a Revolutionary War era campaign that totally ignores that and says, the characters are all power level 10, and they can lift like tons, and blast through anything, and woohoo, change history however you want, and all of a sudden, pretty much every conflict in the Revolutionary War becomes totally different.
Right. That's right. Oh, that's true.
Wow, we were really excited about rank and file gunfire, and then the Flash showed up.
It's like, oh, hey, we have a warship, and oh, did that person just actually literally pick it up?
Right. Claude, yes. Claude says, I've heard one of the preservers mutated one poor early human into some sort of gravy-based hulking monstrosity that still roams the wilds, leaving savory footprints and death in its
So the
wake.
legend says.
And not
Superheroes getting weaker over time is an interesting idea. Where it's
I like that.
As the planet is healthier, the heroes are healthier.
Oh, that is a very okay. This is the kind of thing was hoping for. That's very interesting. Yeah, a kind of affliction that because of this is fascinating. That would be really interesting to kind of see how that would work out, especially if there was a time travel element and you go back and you're just like, what? No, I love that. That's great.
Right.
Let's see. There was a TV show where Crane found himself in the 21st century fighting against the Headless Horseman.
Sleepy Hollow.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I always I'm a fan of the whole sort of take on that the villains are the good guys. Like maybe the Headless Horseman is actually not a bad.
Right. You could always have some sort of Legion of Monsters kind of scenario.
Oh yeah.
Where that kind of thing. Well, they may be creepy horrors, but they're also, darn it, they're American.
Darn it! Oh my gosh! Do you know what time it is right now?
6:02.
It's 2 minutes after. Look at that. So we'll try to get this done in 3 minutes, so you can get a 3-minute bonus for your 3rd year birthday of our Mumamo. But we got to stop. There's so much more to be discussed. Clearly, and we'll save that for another time. But Steve, real quick, do you have anything cooking in your world? Anything you want to let people know about?
I think most important that folks both check out the sale and check out folks who are on the Patreon. Check out our voting for our first mashup there.
That's right.
We have been eagerly and interestingly watching the voting behind the scenes, and I'm very curious to see where it lands. It's already been quite unexpected.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got a lot of great stuff coming the Patreon's way, and we're going to be posting some. I think I got some stat blocks.
I was going to say, Alex has some content.
Yeah. Alex, what have you got cooking?
Yeah, so voting is open until Friday. So if you have a candidate that you're really, really trying to push for, now's a good time to do it.
Yes.
Please don't make me send Sandstone to Atlantis. That's my request.
That's just muddying matters.
Yeah. But otherwise, I did do some stat blocks for if you want to do a Revolutionary War adventure. I did a stat block for Governor Stripe, who is the governor of wherever Freedom City is what his status says. His status advantage says. I was going to say Massachusetts, but I felt like maybe leave it vague. There's the Viscountess, and I did a still alive version of Catherine the Red when she was Catherine Van Houten, one of the Hessian mercenaries for the British. So they're villains of the colonial era.
Nice.
Right? We also have our stream, Freedom Made Dark in the Multiverse of the Master Mage, on Wednesday. And then we'll be back for the Joys of Game Mastering next Tuesday after the next Mumamo.
Nice. Looking forward to that as well. Of course, tomorrow is the 4th, and we wish everybody a happy, sane, and safe 4th. Don't lose any limbs to errant fireworks or just rampant butter churning or whatever it is you're up to. I also want to say that we've got some. We're going to be at what do they call that? Gen Con. Con. It's a convention.
August.
Oh yeah, I'm running events.
You are running events, and in addition, friends, you may be interested in running if you're going to be at Gen Con, you might be interested in running anything from our library. If you are, would you send me a note if you're going to be there? Because more than that, we want to hang out. We want to say hi. We want to maybe we'll put together a little Mutants and Masterminds, Mumamu Mumamo gathering or something along those lines. So send a note to let's play at greenronin.com and let's talk. We'd love to see it. We'd love to hang around.
If you haven't seen yet, I am running 4 events, so they're not sold out yet, which is rare. I'm running a Suicide Squad game called Back in the USSR, where Amanda Waller sends the Suicide Squad to protect the Beatles during the tour of the Soviet Union.
Nice.
I'm running Into the Idiot Box, the astonishing adventure where we go to TV land. Superman for All Seasons, which I ran at Origins, which has Paragons from across the multiverse coming to stop an evil Superman. And then The Dragon of Parkhurst Manor, which is a Titan City game in which a group of magical teenagers have to rescue or help a baby dragon return to its mother when they rescue it from monster smugglers. So
I love that. Where will they go? Do you have a link handy? You can maybe drop it in the Chatteruski.
I don't think so. Just Gen Con event. We'll find something.
The Gen Con website will track them down.
We will find it and get it to you. Yes, and thank you, RC, for reminding everybody about the sale. Go pick up some stuff, something nice for yourself, birthday present for your partner. Who wouldn't love some kind of Mutants and Mastermind stuff in their library? With that being said, gentlemen, thank you so much. Everyone got 6 bonus minutes. That's amazing. All right, everybody, be safe. We'll talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.